walk away from the 97%. The mindset shift to wealth and success, the divide between mediocrity and mastery. The vast majority, 97% of people, will never unlock their full potential. They dream of wealth, envision success, and yearn for a better life, but they remain trapped in a cycle of mediocrity. Not because they lack talent, opportunity, or intelligence, but because they cling to the habits, mindsets, and environments that keep them stuck. They make excuses, seek comfort, and convince themselves that greatness is reserved for others. Meanwhile, the top 3%, the elite who build lasting wealth and extraordinary lives, think, act, and live differently. They've made a conscious choice to walk away from the 97%, embracing a mindset that sets them apart. Success is not a matter of luck, privilege, or innate genius. It's a product of mindset, a deliberate shift in how you think, what you prioritize, and how you act. The 97% are caught in a web of fear, scarcity, and short-term thinking, surrounded by people who reinforce their limitations. The 3% break free, surrounding themselves with growth-oriented individuals, taking calculated risks, and committing to long-term discipline. They understand that to achieve more, you must become more, and that requires leaving behind the comfort, conformity, and complacency of the majority. This is not a feel-good message, it's a challenge. If you want to join the 3%, you must reject the mindset of the 97%. Stop following the crowd, stop settling for average, and start building a life aligned with your highest potential. In this comprehensive guide, we'll explore the principles that separate the 3% from the 97%, why most people remain stuck, and how you can cultivate the mindset, habits, and strategies to achieve wealth and success. The path is clear, but it demands courage, sacrifice, and unrelenting commitment. Are you ready to walk away from the 97% and claim your place among the elite? Body, the principles that define the 3%. 1. Mindset, the foundation of transformation. The single greatest difference between the 97% and the 3% is mindset. The majority are driven by fear, scarcity, and self-doubt. They focus on what's missing, what's wrong, or what they lack, seeing limitations where opportunities exist. They operate from a scarcity mindset, believing resources are finite and success is reserved for others. The 3% think differently. They embrace abundance, focusing on what's possible, what's available, and what they can create. This shift in perspective transforms their decisions and outcomes. The 97% are reactive, letting emotions dictate their actions. If they feel unmotivated, they procrastinate. If they face rejection, they retreat. If they're tired, they quit. The 3% are proactive, acting independently of their emotions. They work when uninspired, push through setbacks, and stay focused under pressure. They've trained themselves to separate action from feeling, understanding that success is about what you do, not how you feel. To adopt the 3% mindset, start by reframing your thoughts. Replace scarcity with abundance. Instead of, I can't afford it, ask, how can I make it happen? Replace fear with possibility. Instead of, what if I fail, ask, what if I succeed? Practice daily affirmations to reinforce self-belief, such as, I'm capable of creating wealth, or I thrive in uncertainty. Surround yourself with content that fuels growth, books, podcasts, and mentors who challenge your limiting beliefs. Mindset is the lens through which you see the world. The 97% see obstacles, the 3% see opportunities. The 97% dwell on problems, the 3% seek solutions. By cultivating an abundance mindset, you unlock the potential to create a life most only dream of, setting the stage for every other principle of success. Environment, curating your circle of influence. Your environment shapes your destiny. The 97% are trapped by their surroundings, people who think small, live small, and reinforce mediocrity. They're surrounded by negativity, excuses, and low standards, normalizing paycheck-to-paycheck living, unhealthy habits, and complacency. The 3% are intentional about their environment, curating a circle of influence that elevates their thinking and actions. They surround themselves with winners, people who challenge them, inspire them, and hold them to a higher standard. The majority, adopt the habits and beliefs of those around them. If their friends are in debt, they assume it's normal. If their co-workers are disengaged, they settle for uninspiring jobs. The 3% reject this conformity. They seek out mentors, peers, and communities who are committed to growth, understanding that you become the average of the people you spend the most time with. They're unafraid to outgrow relationships that no longer serve their vision, even if it means standing alone. To transform your environment, audit your circle. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with? Do they push you to grow or pull you back? Seek out individuals who embody the success you aspire to, join masterminds, attend networking events, or connect online. Create a physical environment that supports your goals. Keep your workspace organized, remove distractions, and surround yourself with reminders of your vision, like vision boards or goal lists. Control the information you consume, prioritizing content that strengthens your mindset over negativity or entertainment. Your environment is stronger than your willpower. The 97% stay stuck because they're immersed in mediocrity. The 3% thrive because they've built an ecosystem that propels them forward. By curating your environment, you create the conditions for success to flourish. Discipline, the key to consistency. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. The 97% rely on motivation, working hard when inspired, but faltering when enthusiasm fades. They're inconsistent, starting projects with excitement, but quitting when the work gets tough. The 3% rely on discipline, acting consistently regardless of how they feel. They've built habits and systems that keep them on track, even when motivation is absent, ensuring they show up every day to do the work. The majority are controlled by their emotions. If they're tired, they skip workouts. If they're discouraged, they procrastinate. If they're busy, they make excuses. The 3% operate on standards, not feelings. They wake up early, follow routines, and execute plans, no matter the circumstances. They understand that success is not about intensity, it's about consistency over time. To build discipline, start with small, non-negotiable habits, waking up at the same time daily, exercising for 20 minutes, or working on your goals for an hour. Create systems to support these habits. Set alarms, eliminate distractions, and track progress. Focus on consistency, not perfection. Even imperfect action compounds over time. Hold yourself accountable, or enlist a mentor or accountability partner to keep you on track. Discipline is what separates the 3% from the 97%. The majority wait for inspiration, the minority create it through action. By mastering discipline, you ensure steady progress, building the momentum that leads to extraordinary results. Action. The antidote to overthinking. The 97% are paralyzed by overthinking. They analyze, plan, and prepare endlessly, waiting for the perfect moment, more information, or absolute certainty before acting. They hesitate, fearing failure or judgment, and talk themselves out of opportunities. The 3% are action-oriented. They understand that clarity comes from movement, not planning. They take calculated risks, act despite uncertainty, and adjust as they go, creating momentum while others remain stuck. The majority seek guarantees, delaying action until conditions are ideal. They want to know every step before starting, but this perfectionism keeps them stagnant. The 3% embrace imperfect action, knowing that mistakes are feedback, not failure. They start before they're ready, trusting themselves to figure it out. This willingness to move forward without all the answers allows them to seize opportunities others miss. To master action, focus on the next step. Break your goals into small, actionable tasks and tackle one at a time. Set deadlines to create urgency and eliminate distractions to maintain focus. Embrace failure as a teacher. Each misstep provides data to refine your approach. Start small, send an email, make a call, or take a first step toward your goal. Action creates momentum, and momentum drives results. The 3% succeed because they act while the 97% think. They know that success is not about having the perfect plan, it's about taking the first step and adapting along the way. By prioritizing action over analysis, you break free from the paralysis that keeps most people stuck. 5. Long-term thinking. The power of delayed gratification. The 97% are driven by short-term thinking. They seek instant gratification, spending money they don't have, chasing fleeting pleasures, or prioritizing comfort over growth. They live paycheck to paycheck, finance lifestyles they can't afford, and waste time on distractions, believing they'll have more time later. The 3% think long-term. They understand the power of delayed gratification, sacrificing today's comfort for tomorrow's rewards. The majority make decisions based on immediate needs, paying bills, enjoying weekends, or impressing others. The 3% make decisions based on future outcomes, investing in assets, skills, and systems that compound over time. They live below their means, not out of necessity, but to build wealth. They prioritize high-leverage activities, learning, networking, or building businesses, knowing the payoff may take years. To adopt long-term thinking, shift your focus from instant rewards to future gains. Create a 5 or 10-year vision. What do you want your life to look like? Align your daily actions with that vision, prioritizing tasks that build wealth, skills, or relationships. Automate savings and investments to ensure consistent growth. Practice saying no to short-term temptations, parties, impulse purchases, or distractions that derail your long-term goals. Long-term thinking is the 3%'s secret weapon. While the 97% chase quick wins, the 3% play the long game, building a foundation that yields exponential results. By delaying gratification, you create a future most only dream of. Financial discipline. Building wealth, not debt. The 97% are trapped in a cycle of financial mismanagement. They spend everything they earn, take on debt to fund lifestyles they can't afford, and believe more income will solve their problems. They focus on consumption, cars, clothes, or vacations, prioritizing appearances over substance. The 3% practice financial discipline, understanding that wealth is not about how much you earn, but how you manage what you have. The majority are reactive with money, spending impulsively and scrambling to cover emergencies. The 3% are strategic, living below their means, and investing the surplus in assets, businesses, real estate, or stocks that generate passive income. They automate savings and investments, ensuring consistent growth. They view money as a tool, not an identity, remaining emotionally detached from financial ups and downs. To build financial discipline, create a budget that prioritizes savings and investments over discretionary spending. Live below your means, cutting unnecessary expenses, like dining out or luxury items. Educate yourself on investing. Read books like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or take courses on financial literacy. Start small. Invest in low-cost index funds, save for a down payment, or launch a side hustle. Track your net worth monthly to measure progress. Financial discipline sets the 3% apart. While the 97% spend to impress, the 3% invest to grow. By managing money strategically, you break free from the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle and build lasting wealth. Risk-taking, embracing uncertainty. The 97% are risk-averse, seeking guarantees and certainty before acting. They avoid failure, fearing embarrassment or loss, and hesitate to seize opportunities. This caution keeps them stuck, playing it safe in secure jobs or predictable routines. The 3% embrace calculated risks, understanding that growth requires stepping into uncertainty. They know that failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. The majority wait for perfect conditions, the right economy, the ideal job, or a foolproof plan. The 3% act despite imperfect conditions, trusting themselves to adapt. They launch businesses, invest in markets, or pursue bold goals, knowing the best opportunities come with no guarantees. They're not reckless but strategic, weighing risks against rewards and moving forward with confidence. To become a risk-taker, start small. Take one calculated risk. Pitch a new idea, invest a small amount, or try a new skill. Research to minimize uncertainty, but don't let analysis paralyze you. Embrace failure as feedback. Each setback teaches you how to improve. Build confidence through action, celebrating the courage to try, not just the outcome. Risk-taking is the 3%'s edge. While the 97% wait for certainty, the 3% create opportunities through action. By embracing uncertainty, you unlock possibilities others never see, paving the way for extraordinary success. Accountability. Owning your results. The 97% avoid accountability, blaming external factors, the economy, their boss, or their upbringing for their lack of progress. They make excuses, deflect responsibility, and wait for others to solve their problems. The 3% take extreme ownership of their lives. They own their failures, their successes, and their decisions, understanding that the moment you take responsibility, you reclaim control of your future. The majority seek handouts or guarantees, expecting life to be fair. The 3% know life isn't fair. They create their own fairness through effort and strategy. They don't wait for permission or opportunities, they build them. They hold themselves accountable, setting clear goals, tracking progress, and adjusting when needed. They also surround themselves with people who hold them to high standards, like mentors or accountability partners. To embrace accountability, stop making excuses. Identify one area where you've blamed others. Your job, finances, or health, and take ownership. Set a specific goal, create a plan, and track your progress weekly. Enlist an accountability partner or coach to keep you honest. Reflect on failures without self-pity, asking, "What can I learn? What's my next step?" Accountability is the 30% strength. While the 97% point fingers, the 3% take charge. By owning your results, you empower yourself to shape your destiny, breaking free from the victimhood that keeps most stuck. Focus, the currency of progress. In a world of distractions, focus is a superpower. The 97% are scattered, wasting time, on low-value activities, social media, TV, or endless notifications. They're busy but not productive, filling their days with tasks that don't move the needle. The 3% are laser-focused, prioritizing high-leverage activities that drive long-term results. They guard their attention fiercely, understanding that where focus goes, energy flows. The majority say yes to everything: invitations, distractions, or irrelevant goals, spreading themselves thin. The 3% say no, simplifying their lives to focus on what matters. They eliminate noise, create boundaries, and dedicate their energy to building systems, assets, or skills. They practice single-tasking, working on one priority at a time with full intensity. To master focus, clarify your priorities. Define your top goal and align your daily actions with it. Audit your time. Where are you wasting hours? Eliminate distractions, turn off notifications, limit social media, and create a distraction-free workspace. Use time blocking to dedicate specific hours to deep work. Train your mind to resist instant gratification, focusing on long-term gains. Focus sets the 3% apart. While the 97% are distracted, the 3% are deliberate. By protecting your attention, you create the momentum that leads to exponential progress, achieving in a year what others take a decade to accomplish. 10. Growth, the pursuit of excellence. The 97% settle for comfort, choosing predictability over progress. They avoid challenges, stick to familiar routines, and resist situations that stretch them. The 3% are driven by growth, understanding that comfort is the enemy of progress. They seek discomfort, knowing it's the gateway to improvement. They embrace challenges, pursue new skills, and constantly raise their standards, aiming for excellence over adequacy. The majority are content with good enough, working just hard enough to get by. The 3% demand more from themselves, setting ambitious goals that push their limits. They invest in their growth, reading, learning, and seeking mentors, knowing that becoming better precedes doing better. They're not afraid to fail, viewing setbacks as opportunities to learn and refine their approach. To prioritize growth, commit to lifelong learning. Read 10 pages daily, take courses, or seek mentors who challenge you. Set goals that scare you, breaking them into actionable steps. Embrace discomfort. Take on projects that stretch your skills or have tough conversations that build your leadership. Reflect weekly. What did you learn? How can you improve? Growth is the 3%'s defining trait. While the 97% stagnate, the 3% evolve. By pursuing excellence, you become the kind of person who creates wealth, success, and impact, leaving mediocrity behind. Conclusion. The choice to join the 3%. The divide between the 97% and the 3% is stark, but it's not insurmountable. The 97% remains stuck, trapped by fear, comfort, and small thinking. They dream of success but cling to habits, environments, and mindsets that keep them average. The 3% break free, embracing a mindset of abundance, discipline, and growth. They act despite fear, prioritize long-term gains, and take responsibility for their results. They don't wait for permission or perfect conditions. They create their own opportunities. You have the power to join the 3%. The principles, mindset, environment, discipline, action, long-term thinking, financial discipline, risk-taking, accountability, focus, and growth are within your reach. But they require a choice: to walk away from the 97%, to reject mediocrity, and to commit to the hard, disciplined work of greatness. It means saying no to comfort, cutting ties with limiting influences, and embracing discomfort as a sign of progress. The path won't be easy. You'll face criticism, doubt, and resistance. The 97% will try to pull you back, urging you to settle, to play it safe, to stay comfortable. But success isn't about being liked. It's about being exceptional. It's not about fitting in. It's about standing out. Every sacrifice, every risk, every moment of discipline is an investment in a future most will never experience. The choice is yours. Will you stay with the 97%, living small and settling for less? Or will you join the 3%, building a life of wealth, impact, and fulfillment? The principles are clear, the path is set, and the time is now. Walk away from the 97%, embrace the mindset of the 3%. Your future is waiting. Go claim it.